the 6th of May, 2026. Hope everybody had a great day. Very busy behind the scenes. Everything is breaking out. I mean, oh my, this is the biggest border scandal, and it is so big. And yeah, I wonder, it's been so busy that I haven't really checked how much the media is covering this. I haven't really checked, so I can't make any statements because our own investigation has been so intense today. Absolutely intense. You wouldn't, you just have to get up and go for a walk. And oh my gosh, it's when you think that you have learned it all, then all of a sudden a huge tower, an evil tower, presents itself, and it just opens up so many doors and also explains so much. So let's get started. I hope that I can explain it to you. I hope that I can because I am still shocked and at what we're discovering. I just can't even tell you how shocking this is. And you think, okay, a little building, um, from this treasonous treaty. And no, no, when you look into it, no, it is 20 stories high. Anyway, so let's get started. Day 2,102 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, because he was a whistleblower, because he was absolutely reporting on the cartel infiltration on Fort Bliss and its involvement with the Walmart mass shooting and the criminal trafficking of every kind. It's so bad. When he said it's so bad, it is so bad. It started in Qatar. Richard was deployed to Qatar. Some people say Qatar, which is right there in the Strait of Hormuz. That should absolutely trigger questions of cartel were being deployed on taxpayer dime in American uniforms to Qatar, to do their evil, criminal, terroristic organization activities in our uniform, on our dime, and by our deployments. What that all entails is just absolutely shocking. So, um, Richard said it's very bad there. It was so bad, right? And he started reporting. He started reporting, and that was, of course, and he came back in 2019. He was there from part of 2018 to 2019. He came to visit us in August of 2019 after the Walmart mass shooting. He was clearly shaken by the whole thing. Um, and he went back and he started reporting more. And of course, by December, the conspiracy to target him had begun. It began, and they wanted to compromise him. They tried everything. They wanted to compromise him. He didn't. He didn't. He was a stellar soldier until the very end. And they even sent in Al Mayo's lawyer for counterintelligence. And soon after that, in July of 2020, he was forcibly removed from his room, taken downstairs to the basement room, for whistleblowing, and they took his life. And um, because this is a cartel criminal terroristic organization network, they had infiltrated Fort Bliss. So they were able to steal his body off of base and traffic it to Juarez, Mexico for disposal. Our evidence indicates that his organs were harvested and that this group, because they were so infiltrated, including in the VA and the VA IDES Pablo, that they were cashing in on Richard in many different ways. They were all about this whole funeral fraud, the whole flesh peddling of every kind, of course, with all the trafficking, of course, all the fraud, and it's just very bad. And our evidence is very clear, and we've been doing this for almost 6 years, day in and day out. And I think we have the best evidence than in any case. I think it's the strongest evidence in any case. And it was so strong, the evidence was so strong that they had to designate Richard as deceased. They had to, of course, um, designate him as in the line of duty because the evidence is just so strong. And that's with all of the tampering. That is the to say how magnificent Richard's character is, it's testimony to him because of all of the tampering in the case, the tampering with him, the whitewashing of whistleblower reports that identified the prime suspect, that absolutely reported that Richard's case was being tampered and leaked and manipulated. And that was by a judge, Judge Roger Rodriguez, who called us up and let us know that he filed a uh, a whistleblower report, and and that was whitewashed, y'all, in Richard's records. So they tampered with what we know is true because um, the file, the reporting was not just filed in one place. It was filed in many different places, and therefore they couldn't erase it all. And so they're in real trouble with that, with the obstruction of justice in our son's case. And I will tell you this, that one of the places that Judge Roger Rodriguez's whistleblower report, which identified the prime suspects in our son's murder case, and that there was tampering and interfering going on in our son's case, landed on Ted Cruz's desk. One of those places was Ted Cruz's desk. And so just to let you know, um, so what I really want to talk about today is what we found out. It all connects to Richard, right? It all connects to Richard because we have the El Paso cartel, and I've clearly um, uh, put out the memes for those. Um, some of the leaders, the narco philanthropists in the El Paso cartel, being it Alejandra de la Vega Foster. She's the main person that we absolutely talk about and name because she's a double agent. And she was on both governors of Chihuahua, governor of Texas, both governors' administration at the same time, with access to uh, intel and connections and with law enforcement. She was sitting on the law enforcement and intelligence um, uh, security, national border security commissions in in Chihuahua, Mexico. So she had access to cases, um, i- intelligence, everything that was going on at the border. And that's what gives them some power when you have that knowledge, right? And now they are losing that power. They're losing that access because we what we got today was that Washington, not only Mexico City and President Scheinbaum is investigating, but also that Washington is investigating this treasonous treaty that was signed by narco governor Maru Campos, along with Texas Governor Greg Abbott, and into the deaths of the two CIA agents that recently died. And we've reported that that was a ambush, and we've reported that the names Black and Johnston. And Johnston was the drone operator, y'all. He was the drone operator, and Black was the Marine, the former Marine. Okay, so these are slackers, right? These are, and they lost their lives. They lost their lives in Chihuahua. They're both CIA agents, and they were engaged in unauthorized operations, unauthorized drone operations, and they lost their lives. They were ambushed, and we know that because of the driver is a very trained driver. Okay. So it's not like, oh, by accident we're going to fall off a cliff. Okay. And those vehicles are like bulletproof, right? So it's yeah, this was really and well, as the investigation goes forth, they'll we'll learn more details. So looking into that is really important, um, very important. uh, but I want to tell you that the Centella, right? And I hope I'm saying that right. The Centinela, Centella. Well, geez, I need to look at the name. I'm doing everything by memory because it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and I don't want to read anymore. I want to absolutely do everything by memory. And so please correct me. Um, but I will tell you this, that in that treasonous treaty, they were agreeing about this tower, this AI intelligence collecting tower that would be right there overlooking Fort Bliss, right there overlooking the border and Fort Bliss. And it is in the billions now. And it is absolute. They wanted to make the 18th floor just for the CIA, the FBI, the American agencies, which includes the DPS. Um, in Juárez, right? So Maru Campos, in one of the articles, and I thought it was just brilliant what they said, she was making her own Pentagon, her own little Chihuahuan Pentagon right there across the border. And did you see? And let me see if I have it here, if I saved it. Yeah, here it is. Let's see if I can turn this on. Um, so right here, so right here is the border. Okay, this is a map, Google Earth of El Paso, right? El Paso. And then, of course, you have Juarez. This is the border. And this is Juarez, okay? This is Juarez. San Jacinto Plaza. Here is the bridges that go over. This is the border right here, and I should turn that on. Um, but yeah, this is the border. These are the bridges. I used to walk over these bridges and right down. And I used to walk by this. I can't even believe it. Here's the bull ring, right? The bull ring. I remember as a girl going to that bull ring. Um, wow. So here it is. You just walk right over. You can just walk right there. You can just walk right there. And this big tower overlooks, here it is. This is it being built. And I think there's another picture. Yeah, let's look at this picture. There's all kinds of pictures here that show how big it is. See if there's a finished one. Yeah, here's almost finished. It's glass. And it looks out to Fort Bliss. There's Fort Bliss. Look at Fort Bliss there. Fort Bliss. So you got, I hope I'm doing this right. Uh-oh. It doesn't, something's going on here. Whatever. Okay. So yeah, so here it is. And here's Fort Bliss. Here it is, and here's Fort Bliss. Walking distance, y'all. Walking distance to Fort Bliss. I just, it's like unbelievable. Unbelievable. And this is the cartel command center. You know, uh, it's the cartel's command center, intelligence operating full infiltration into our intelligence databases and federal cases and using federal agents and absolutely despicable treason, national security alert, 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 and looking over at our military installation. And this was done by the facilitation of Alejandro de la Vega Foster, 100%. And, in order to build this building, you know how long it takes to even organize it? And they've got it. Um, yeah, it is really, it's been a work in progress, a work in progress, which means that they were really thinking of taking control, right? And then all of a sudden, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2019. And so everything kind of changed. And then they went to such extreme measures. They went to COVID extreme measures to delay things and to divert things. And of course, they took our son's life, who, had a front row seat to what was going on in Qatar, what was going on at Fort Bliss, what was going on in El Paso. And he didn't like it, and he reported, and he was a stellar soldier. And see, they don't like that. They want unreliable. That's why they always try to compromise our soldiers by bringing in 14-year-old girls to live in the barracks for months at a time, being pimped out, so they can compromise them, film them, and say, if they want to report something, they'll say, okay, well, then I'll report this. So they absolutely want to compromise our soldiers. In 6 years, that was very clear because the barracks were not following the regulations. They were not following what Richard had in all his paperwork. They weren't following it. It wasn't a place that you'd want to live, quote unquote. And so it was very clear that they had bad intentions very early on in all of this. And Richard triggered investigations, and they didn't want that. And so, of course, they targeted him. Uh, it's past your bedtime. Absolutely past my bedtime. But there's no time to sleep. I'm come on very late. And of course, we are in full mode during the day. with everything going on and all of what's going on behind the scenes in our investigation and everything that needs to be done. And so, yeah, it gets very late. But this is what it takes to get justice. This is what it takes to move these people to demand justice. They're not going to be nice and just do it for you. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. And so that's what we're doing. And so it takes, hours and hours and hours. And I'm not going to lie to you. It takes a lot of work. And filing. One person said, "Did you notify these people?" Um, I don't think there's any other family, Gold Star family, that has filed as many letters as we have. Okay. I am going to make that claim for us. And I think we're the winner by far, by loads. We're the front runner, and not even the Derby winner, right? The Kentucky Derby winner. What was the horse's name in that amazing race? Coming from behind. We're so far ahead. I don't think there could even be a horse that could catch up with us. I don't think so. Nope. We have filed that many, many complaints and letters and open records and that. So, um, and we've got proof for it. We've got proof for all of it. So, yes, way too much. America became weak, very weak on crime. And the church has become very weak on crime. The church really has a part to play in all of this because they gave up. They gave up things that they need to be doing. And our families need a lot of support and a lot of education, a lot of biblical education. And yeah, so when President Trump came out and said, and I'm love the church, right? But it's weak on crime. It's weak on crime, and we need to face that, and we need to change it. And so we need to demand uh, that God's law is absolutely respected and instituted, because the alternative is absolute hell on earth. Really. It really is. I just can't even tell you enough. So, this Centella, whatever, it's like just one big monster. It's a big monster building. Centinela, Torre Centinela. Um, it is AI operated. Okay. It is AI operated. That means they're using a lot of water. AI requires a lot of water. And so it's interesting because we're keeping a close eye on the cement um, or Portland Reservoir, Cement Lake, Portland Reservoir, that they are draining the water, right? They're draining the water out 17 to 20 feet. They've drained it. And we have, you know, um, information that there was a lot of equipment there, a lot of equipment. So, unusual for even what they were trying to do with the inspection of the dam and everything. So, yeah, we're keeping a close eye on that. And this tower, how did it get built? Who paid for it? Who's running it? Who's being spied on? Who's doing the spying? That is the questions. Because I will tell you right now that one glance of Chihuahua's finances clearly tell you that it's not Chihuahua. It might be the Mormon faction. It might be the El Paso cartel. It might be, because the cartels have loads of money. It might be a foreign operator. but it's not for the people of Chihuahua. They're not doing it, and they couldn't pay for it, even if they wanted to. They couldn't. Chihuahua is in major debt, and its GDP is bad. It is bad. They are hurting. They are hurting terribly. And they go and build something like this. And please God, I hope they didn't tax the Chihuahuan people for this. We're going to find out through this whole investigation that not through us, maybe, I don't know. God just gives us stuff. It's just amazing. But we know that we have breaking news that Washington, D.C. and Mexico City is all over this now. All over this now. And it's because of you. It's because that you are sharing. You're sharing this information and you are demanding and driving the narratives now. The CIA, the two CIA agents that were killed recently, there has been such an outcry, people sharing, creating all kinds of social media about it, wanting answers. And now, of course, President Scheinbaum has to do her job, right? She has to say, she's very strong. She is calling Maru Campos out. And even the Morena party member is saying that what Maru did was treason. Absolutely treason. And then the supporters and the apologists for Maru are saying this was just a memorandum of understanding, this treasonous treaty. No, it wasn't a memorandum of understanding. We understand what a memorandum of understanding is, and this ain't it. This ain't it. Okay? This is a treasonous treaty. This was a border security, intelligence sharing, surveillance sharing, getting money for this tower, the organization of this tower. This ain't a memorandum of understanding. Sorry, and I just have to be a little spicy about that because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this was a MOU, an MOU." No, no, and I pray to God that they did not charge Chihuahuans for this monstrosity. Um, Really, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And they built it, right? They built it. It's there. It's being investigated. And I just am very grateful that you're sharing all of what we're putting out. We're working very hard to put out a lot of, I mean, jaw dropping breaking news. We're putting out probably 2 to 3, maybe 4 jaw dropping breaking news every day. And I don't think I'm exaggerating about that. I mean, uh, it's just moving so fast, moving so fast. And this is about the vicious negotiations for the repatriation of our son's remains because it's not a little deal that they would take a U.S. Army soldier, forcibly remove him out of his bedroom, his barracks room, and take him downstairs and take his life and then steal his body. You know what it takes to take a person's remains off of a military base? That kind of organization, that kind of breach in security, and then to cover it up, all of it takes a major operation, a breach in security, and an unauthorized operation that is huge. And then to traffic his body to Juárez for disposal while cashing in on him. Huge, huge, unauthorized, illegal, terroristic operation. And then, cash in on him. And then the whole cover up. The cover up. Oh my gosh. So many operations in that asymmetric warfare tactics used. It is huge. It's not me being, and of course, I demand as a mother, I want my son's body. On the other uh, enforcement of this is the constitutional enforcement, the treason involved in it, the breach of security involved in it, the offense against the American people involved in this, the offense of our soldiers involved in all. I just can't even, and I'll let the lawyers explain it, all of the legal, the RICO and the treason it is so huge. And now we've got this monstrosity on top of it by the very same people, the very same group that did all of this to our son was doing all of this against the Chihuahuan people, against the American people, and that includes um, uh, the compromise of Governor Greg Abbott, which earlier today I put him out as a crocodile, and I wanted to talk about that because President Trump absolutely is hanging on to him. You've got to hang on to these crocodiles, these monsters, these traitors. You cannot let them go because we need to hold them accountable. It's very important that a vote for Abbott is a vote for justice, is a vote for accountability. Because if all of this, remember what they did with Richard. They just broke up his unit, broke up Fort Bliss, they brought in new people, they switched everything around, they deployed people, they transferred people, they did everything they can to mess everything up so that we would have a very, very hard time to get accountability. And that is what we cannot do right now with with Governor Greg Abbott. Him and his people need to stay there. Stay there. President Trump has them in his clutch, right? And we need to hold them accountable. And so I absolutely understand that, yes, he's compromised. Yes, he is a traitor. But look, the sad news is Chihuahua, Mexico. You know, we know that you've got this governor, this governor, this governor, this governor is compromised. Well, so it is in the United States. So it is in the United States. How do you think Jeffrey Epstein did all this? How do you think El Paso cartel did all of this? It was because of compromised Texas governor, New Mexico governor, Arizona governor. It is, but in this case, in what's going on right now with this treasonous treaty, it is involved. And I know they made agreements in Arizona too. So I'm sure that's being looked at too. But once for us and our little family, we're focused on Texas. We're focused on El Paso. We're focused on Fort Bliss. And we're focused on Governor Abbott. And he needs to stay exactly where he is. And we need to get justice. And that's coming. We're working very, very hard with all file, and um, the wheels of justice move very slow. They move slower than the voting, the election cycle. And so that's why uh, and it's good to some extent that justice moves slow because God is patient, right? God is patient with all of us. But there comes a time when that patient runs out and accountability is meted out. And that is what's happening right now. When you have so many elected officials calling Maru out as treasonous, the likes of AMLO, the likes of the new leader of Morena, then you know that the time has come. The time has come. And so we have a lot of good news. And let me just make sure um, that I didn't forget anything because sometimes it's just so much. There it is. Okay. So, and then I'll read any of your comments that you have. So, the breaking news is that Washington, D.C. and Mexico City is in full investigation mode of this Maru Campos. I did talk about Greg Abbott being the crocodile. Um, Also, the drones. This is all about the drones. And I put up that amazing picture with the drones. So, yeah, let me make sure that I refreshed. Yes, and I did talk Ariana Motel Reyes. Yeah, I did talk about her. And yeah, the tower. Oh, and I did want to mention Julio Cordero. Julio Cordero was the most legendary and amazing FBI agent in El Paso history. He is the one that investigated Operation Poisoned Pawns and brought them to justice, over 40 of them. And when Richard, over 40 of them, it was amazing, from the courthouse, these poison pawns, these crocodiles, right? And when Richard's case, this is from sources, when he heard that Richard was designated deceased, he knew. He knew what was going on because he had two philanthropists, narco philanthropists, still on his list at large that he didn't get, that he didn't get. And now, with the El Paso cartel being revealed, with the philanthropists being revealed, with this treasonous treaty, with the support of the Trump administration and the Scheinbaum administration, this is absolutely, you can tell because of the breadth, it's just this investigation is huge, that you can call it Poisoned Pawns Part 2. Poison Pawns Part 2. Absolutely. So I'll put that up because, yeah, Poison Pawns Part 2. So, um, Where is Julio Cordero? Well, he was killed. He was killed, and they still haven't released the video footage. We have been asking and asking and asking for his case. We've gotten some things, but not the video footage. And we want the video footage. Why not? An El Paso Independent School District police officer, Anthony Acuna, they were protecting him. He's up to no good. He is the school buddy of up to no good Montoya, James Montoya, and they are protecting Anthony Acuna by not releasing the video footage because uh, Julio Cordero was not armed. He knew who he was. Anthony Acuna knew who, and probably knew Julio Cordero. And we want to know why he ended up with a execution style shot to the head that killed him. Because we know that he had contacted the assistant U.S. attorney and was reporting his investigation. And next thing we know, he's not alive anymore. And that was in August of 2024. Was it 20? How long have we been doing this? Yeah, 2024. It is something is not right with that investigation. And Cody Carter, the DPS investigator, we know we have confirmation that the crime scene was tampered with. Michael Gonzalez, tampering with. So we want the video. We want the video. The people should have the video of what happened that day with Julio Cordero. Okay? And that's our video. Okay? So we should be able to watch our video and get answers. And you know, God bless Julio Cordero because he was really amazing. And we want to honor him by Poison Ponds Part 2. I was going to say 2.0, but I think this is Part 2. So let me read some of the comments. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Miguel. James, okay. Thank you so much for that. That's how many kids end up being abused. Yeah. Tax on the churches. Yeah. They do that. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on, for your love and your support and your prayers. It's all those cartel religion. Yes. Oh, and I wanted to play that too. I was watching something about the Strait of Hormuz today that was like, okay, now we know who we're up against, and I don't think they're the Persians. Um, Laura Rodriguez, thank you. Please look into the Mormon clans. Yes. Yeah, well, we know this building was absolutely um, went up because of the El Paso cartel, the Mormon faction. You know, it was a collaborative effort on people that are up to no good. Okay. So, yes. Yeah. So, I did see, talking about coaches and everything, I did see President Trump bring back the health competitions, right? The school health competitions, sport competitions. Um, that's going to be so interesting. And I remember them and I just love them. It's, yeah, I think he's just has a checklist and he's just going, he keeps on going. He keeps on going and he's doing amazing things. So, and in, he's doing amazing things in a den of crocodiles. Is that what a den of crocodiles is called? What is it called? Um, but that's amazing. So we are absolutely still supporting him every step of the way because we see that um, he's fighting in the midst of all of this and getting us closer and closer and closer to our son's remains. And of course, we have the promise behind us, his comments to us, and um, so we're, you know, there we have it. We want our son's remains and we want accountability. So thank you so much. God bless you.